It is Crocktober, the kickoff of Crockpot season, where the weather gets cooler, you want cozy comfort meals, and also the season is busier, and you just need something to put into the Crockpot and let it cook while you're working and being busy. That's why I love Crockpot meals, and in this video I have 3 of those. One that has become our Halloween tradition, another that is our favorite way to have chili every fall, and the third is a great way to make a ribeye roast, but not in the traditional way you may be thinking. So let's go ahead and dive right in. This first Crockpot meal has become a Halloween tradition. Whenever we used to go trick-or-treating, I would have this cooking in the slow cooker and we'd come back to this wonderful chicken soup. It was so good and it's so easy. And now, even though my kids are older, I still stick to this tradition and make it the week of Halloween. So it starts with these chicken breasts. You can also use chicken thighs, but I always use chicken breasts. These are boneless and I'm adding some spices. I use chili powder, smoked paprika, cumin, and also some garlic powder. And I do about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of each, and then I add just a little bit of salt. I'm gonna pour a whole can of green enchilada sauce on top of everything. This is the mild version. And then I'm also gonna add a mild version of the Rotel, diced tomatoes with green chilies. For a little bit more, I'd like to add another little can of the chopped green chilies. And then I'm going to add a can of whole kernel corn that I've drained. Next, I add a whole can of pinto beans that I've rinsed and drained, and you can use any bean if you'd like. You can use red kidney beans or black beans go really good in this as well. I smooth everything out a little, cover it with a lid, and I'm gonna cook it on low for at least 5 hours. And I want it to get fully cooked, but also the longer it cooks, that chicken's gonna break down and be fork tender. And now I can shred it with 2 forks. I've done that now, and then the last 20 to 30 minutes before we're ready to eat, I'm gonna add half a block of cream cheese and let that melt into everything. That's going to create the creamy, rich, wonderful sauce. And once that is melted, it is ready to serve. Sometimes I serve it over cauliflower rice or maybe cauliflower mashed potatoes, but I love to top it with some avocados and some tomatoes and sometimes some cheese. It is the perfect Halloween tradition. This next recipe is so amazingly delicious. It is pork enchiladas and it is super easy. I just start with a ribeye roast, which is a great cut because it breaks down and becomes very tender. I'm going to take the whole roast and put it in the crock pot, and then I'm going to cover it with a whole can of red enchilada sauce. I'm also going to add some seasonings. I'm going to add some cumin. I'm going to add some smoked paprika and some chili powder. I'm just going to sprinkle that on top, cover it with a lid. We're going to cook this on low for at least 5 to 6 hours. Once everything is cooked and broken down, I'm going to go ahead and take 2 forks and just go ahead and shred all the meat. But this is where I'm going to take it over the top. I'm going to go ahead and take my tortillas. These are low carb. You can use any tortilla. I'm actually pushing them into the enchilada sauce so they get pliable and they get a little warm. And then I just take the shredded pork and I'm going to add just a little bit to each tortilla. Then I'm going to wrap it up. Some of them I put some shredded cheese in. So once I have everything rolled out in my pan, I'm going to cover it with another can of enchilada, this time green enchilada sauce. I'm going to cover that with all of this wonderful shredded cheese. You can use any shredded cheese here. If you wanted pepper jack for a kick of heat, you could do that as well. Into the oven for just a few minutes until the cheese melts, the sauce gets warmed up, and you have such amazing pork enchiladas. I sprinkle with some cilantro. I drizzle on some sour cream, and also for the side, I just had some chips and salsa, and it was superb. So delicious. This next crockpot meal is the way we will be making chili every fall. It has a secret ingredient. We absolutely love it. I made it again this week. It is our favorite. It starts with 1 medium onion that I've chopped, sauteing it in some oil. I also have a red and green pepper. This is the best way to also use up all of our peppers from our garden. I finally chopped those, and now I'm going to add 1 pound of lean ground turkey. And I'm going to break that all apart and get it cooked through. And I'm going to also add a clove of minced garlic. Cook everything, and now I'm ready for our spices. To this, I'm going to add chili powder, about a tablespoon, also a tablespoon of smoked paprika, and then a special ingredient, I'm adding cinnamon. That's going to give it a wonderful flavor, and it's also going to enhance the other ingredient, but I'm also adding cumin and then a little bit of salt. I'll mix everything together, get it heated through. I can already smell that cinnamon. It's so good. I'm gonna add a special ingredient here, a whole can of pure pumpkin. This is pumpkin puree. I'm gonna add that. And then I'm also gonna add a can of chilies with tomatoes, so Rotel. I'm gonna add all that with the juices. I'm gonna stir everything until it's well combined. And then to help give this more flavor and a little bit, make it a little saucier, I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Now this is all cooked through. You can let it just sit on the stove. My crock pot actually works on the stove and it also goes into the insert and finishes slow cooking. But you could easily dump all these ingredients, including the turkey raw, into your crock pot and let it all simmer and cook through. I just like sauteing the vegetables. It gives it a more enhanced flavor. But you can do this all in your crock pot and let all of it just work together all day on low for 8 hours and it will all cook through and you'll have the same flavors. But for me, I just sauteed it because my crock pot does that on the stove onto the base, and the longer it goes, the better it gets. This is another version of it. This is the second batch we made this fall because it's that good. This time we didn't use Rotel, we just used tomatoes from the garden, so they just broke down in the slow cooker. Oh man, everything is just amazing. We serve it in our bowls. We top it with a little bit of Greek yogurt and maybe a little cheddar cheese if we have it, but otherwise plain because it is that good. We will be making this every fall. It has now become our new staple. We've already had it twice, like I said, and it is just that good. So delicious. What is your favorite fall crock pot recipe? I would love to know. Leave it in the comments, share with me. I'd love to add more to my list. I have more coming, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and click that notification bell. That way you know when I make another video like this one with plenty more crock pot recipes. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.